Hi, I'm Joe Polizzi, and this is the Content Inc. podcast. 5 minutes every Monday for content creators who desire to be content entrepreneurs. All right, I want you to do something for me. Think about the most respected and trustworthy leaders in your industry. I bet they published a book. Whether you already have the content prepared or you're starting from scratch, getting your expertise into a printed book with Lulu has never been easier and more profitable. Lulu's e-commerce plugins allow you to sell directly to your fans from your site while they handle all the printing and shipping and everything else. You keep creative control, customer data, and 100% of your profits. 100%, folks. Create a free account today at lulu.com. So every 30 days or so, I write an article for The Tilt. And for March, I wanted to write one that really had some impact. You know, one of those ones that you absolutely have to pass around if you're a content entrepreneur. So I put together the top 5 things that I've done over my content creator career that have made the most impact. And this was difficult, by the way, because there's a long list of things. Plus, if you get into all the people that have helped you and sheer luck on occasion. But I discounted those and I said, what are those 5 things? So there have been a number of ups and downs, successes and failures, but here are the 5 most critical things that I've accomplished as a content creator. Let's go through them. Number 1, a book, of course. I wrote and published my first book, Get Content, Get Customers, with Newt Barrett in 2008. Now, the book contained our idea of what content marketing was at the time and how companies should approach it. Now, if somebody wanted to know what I believed in and what I stood for, then I would just give them the book. Now, little did I know at the time, but having a book opened countless doors for my content entrepreneurial path, from speaking engagements to print interviews to podcast appearances to live webinars. Now, the book was pretty successful, and McGraw-Hill purchased the rights to the book in 2009. And back then, it seemed important to have a traditional publisher attached to your book, and I don't believe that's the case today. I mean, come on, Lulu's the sponsor of this podcast, so I obviously don't believe that you have to go with a traditional publisher, and in many cases, self-publishing is preferred. And since 2009, I've had a goal to write a book every 2 years, and I've kept that promise. And as many of you know, Epic Content Marketing 2nd edition launch week is this week. So honestly, this would be the week to buy and share and do all those things. Go to epiccontentmarketing.com for more on that. Now, if you have a book, start planning your next one. If you don't, I would get going. And if you don't think you have time, I don't think that's a problem. My first 3 books used the blog to book strategy. That meant every blog post or article I developed over a 6-month period became a chapter. And if you plan it well, you'll have 75% of a book done in half a year. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, speaking. My rule of 3 is platform, book, and speaking. I believe you need all 3 as a content entrepreneur. And sadly, too many content creators leave off the speaking part. It's something about speaking in front of others that takes your content mission to the next level. Over the past 15 years, I've spoken live or in person more than 400 times. I can easily attribute multiple millions of dollars in opportunities to these events. Now, if you're not comfortable speaking in front of people, that's okay. You can start doing podcast interviews or webinars, and these are great ways to hone your message and figure out what topics make the most sense for you as a speech. Now, pro tip. Make sure your personal website has a place for your speaking that includes some testimonials and what topics you can speak on. And if you want to see one, for example, just go to joepolizzi.com, click on speaking, and you can copy whatever you see there. Totally fine with me. Third one is research. Now, when I started in 2007 around the topic of content marketing, it was difficult to get people to take me or the topic seriously. Insert research. There is nothing like a statistically significant research project that will position you and your content brand as an expert. But when I started, resources and audience were a problem. So I called and emailed around, finding 2 companies to partner with. They leveraged their brand and audience, and I did all the work putting the survey together, compiling the results, and writing the final report. 3 years later, that research became the recognized research for the entire industry with over 1,000 other websites linking to the report. What amazing search engine optimization. And then when we launched The Tilt, we led with research, and we're now in our 3rd annual Content Entrepreneur research study. So research, love it. Can't get enough of it. Number 4, email. Of course, you knew I was going to go into email. Now, while I started my content entrepreneurial path in 2007, I didn't take email seriously until about a year later. It's probably my biggest regret. While social fans and followers are great, they are not assets, as you know. That is rented land. What's not rented land? Email. Opt-in email is and has been king, queen, and more for 20 plus years. An email database is the ultimate pre-customer database. And if you're so inclined to sell your business at some point, it's something companies can actually buy. Now, a couple things on email. First, make sure it's original and valuable, easy to say but hard to accomplish. Second, make it consistent. My personal newsletter, The Random, which you can sign up at joepolizzi.com if you want to, works because I've showed up every 2 weeks for the past 4 years. Now, third, make it your call to action on everything. Every blog post, podcast, webinar, speech, and email should have a CTA to your most important asset, email. If you go to the show notes of this podcast, you will see the Random newsletter as a call to action. Now, number 5, this is kind of the weird one that a lot of people don't do. It's called the hit list, or I call it the hit list. This one is so often overlooked by content entrepreneurs. Ask yourself where your audience is hanging out if they aren't engaging in your content. Then make a list of these people. It should include bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, even some brands and some media companies. Now, your goal, if you choose to accept it, is to build a relationship with these people. You start by simply commenting and sharing their content so they begin to notice you, and you do so on a regular basis. Now, LinkedIn is a great place to see this in action. Power LinkedIn users like Justin Welsh or Sahil Bloom create consistent and compelling content, but more importantly, they comment on their own hit list every day. This does 2 things. First, it gets you on the radar with your hit list, which can lead to all sorts of wonderful partnerships. And second, you will actually start to migrate or steal their audience, which becomes interested in what you have to say on their feeds. A hit list from 20 to 50 people, brands seems to work very well. And once you conquer one, you can add another one to the list. So again, 5 things: a book, speaking, research, email, and your hit list. 5 things that I think are important to take your content creator, content entrepreneurial journey to the next level. Good luck.